Just waiting for that to. This meeting is being live streamed. Got it. Just hit got it. Yeah, can we stand for the pledge of allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's the second time I had to do that today. I had to attend the veterans site. They had at the elementary school today, they had the kids, they want to wear a hat. They had to bring a doll or something. They got to wear a hat. in school.
Hats for Heroes. Yeah.
Hats for Heroes campaign. You know, I think they collected almost $1,000
Yeah.
this morning for the veterans
Nice.
thing. So
I told my granddaughter, I was like, yeah, your Poppy's a hero. And she was like, no, he's not.
All right, there you go. All right, so we call the meeting in order. We did the pledge. Could I get a motion to approve the agenda for today?
Second.
Is there any additions, corrections on the agenda you want to add?
So I would like to, as we spoke about in the last meeting, I'd like to move 21-158 to the first resolution.
Yep.
And then move 21-159 to the end.
158, that's the open public hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So open the public hearing at the beginning of the meeting, close it at the end,
Okay.
if we could, please.
Yep, Rick, is that any problem with that, Rick? You're muted, Rick.
No problem. I was actually thinking about that when I was
We talked
giving
about
the
that last
resolutions to Tammy and the board. So thank you.
So,
Yep.
so what number you want to go first then?
So if we do 158 to open the meeting, and then the last thing before we close, do 159.
Yep, I'm 58. Yep,
Oh, hold on. We're gonna close it before what resolution?
So we'll close right at the end of the meeting before we adjourn.
I think we have to close the public hearing to vote on this. We got to put the vote.
Oh, right, yeah, before that, yeah.
Yeah,
And then
so we
we,
had to move 160 also. to the
yeah,
end.
159 and 160 at the end of the meeting.
Right, Rick?
Which one's 159?
159 is to
To close the
public
hearing.
hearing, and then 160 is to approve the preliminary engineering report.
Well,
You tell me, Rick.
what if we open the public hearing now, move 2150 and then leave to close it right before 160?
Well, he wants to leave time for people to come in. People come in late for the meeting, and people have more time to.
But some of these, we gotta have it, like the bond resolution, the public hearing has to be closed
All right, well,
before we vote on it.
we'll
And I
cons-
think the public interest one, the same thing. I'm just going back to my memory.
we'll consider this a work in progress.
Okay, all right. I understand where you,
Yeah.
because I think some of them are tied to the closing the public hearing or to do it. So,
Yeah,
all right. So, all right. So we'll work on that
Yeah.
for next. So Rick, when we do the agenda for any other public hearings, we gotta be,
Open it and begin.
we want to do the open the public hearing, and then anything voting on the public hearing has to be after we close the public hearing at the end, so we can do other business
yeah,
in between. Okay,
yeah. I just want to have as much physical time in between the opening and the closing of the public hearing as we can
Okay.
have.
all right. So with no other changes in mind, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. The next thing is to approve the minutes for the meeting that was held on two meetings, the 14th and the workshop on the 21st. Do you have a motion for discussion?
So moved.
Tony,
And I'll
Mike,
second it.
all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
So I wasn't at the workshop, so I don't know what
Yep.
that was, but with that note, I'm a yes vote.
Okay, and I'll vote yes. Okay. Motion carried. Public participation. Would anybody like to be heard? communications. The only thing I got was in the paper, there was an article, we had a tree planting. Everybody had an invitation to the tree planting that was held last Saturday. There was a joint effort with the city of Auburn and us. It also gave us everything that we needed for the recertification for the Tree City USA for another year. So we got to submit that application and get that processed so that we would have our, this will be our 4th year now. It doesn't seem possible to be our 4th year next year to have that designation. So that took place. And then manhole sewer.
You know, we have another public hearing too for the budget in there.
So, so manhole sewer update, we did have the manhole, Bob used the new truck and vacuum down to the bottom of the thing. We did it for 2 reasons. One, we were having preventive maintenance done on that. They changed the oil on the pumps and they did some other PM stuff on that area, but also we were having problems with baby wipes, disinfecting wipes, hand wipes, whatever you want to call them, body wipes. People are, they say that they're disposable, but what's happening is they don't break down between the time they flush them and they get to our grinder pumps, which is only a couple hours by the time they get to the pump station. And what's happening is they're getting these, I sent a picture out to everybody. It looks like a towel that's clogging up our motors, burning out our motors. And Tammy sent a Facebook post, and we also did other communications. This is not the first time. We sent this when we installed all the grinder pumps. We gave everybody the literature, what could go in, what can't go in. We're going to have to do a more public outreach for these things, because the end result is it's going to cost the taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars if we blow out these motors, we blow out these pumps, create catastrophe. And it's just because they think they're disposable and they're not. So whether you have sewer or you have septic, you wouldn't put them in a septic tank. You don't want to put them in flushing down your toilet, because they do not dissolve in a short period of time. Maybe once they get the final lamp placed, they will dissolve, but not now. So I want to make everybody aware of that. So under new business, we did file because this board decided to go forward with the that FEMA thing back in the spring of last year. We weren't going to do it, but then we decided to do it the last minute. We filed that paperwork because of the disaster of Fred back in, was that August? We are able to now, they declared it a disaster area. We are able to now put in money for funding. So I took a 3-hour online presentation this past a week or 2 ago, got all the credentials that we need. I submitted the paperwork for the FEMA disaster relief. Bob did a tally of all of the equipment, the overtime, and documented with pictures all of the debris and where we took it out of all the material that was used. So now we can submit that. So we're hoping to get reimbursement of I think pretty close to $18,000-$20,000. If we hadn't done that over a year ago, we would not have gotten this disaster relief. And we haven't gotten it yet, but we're in the works of doing that. So FEMA will be contacting this office within the next couple of weeks to go over the next steps to submit that for reimbursement. That's right. Yeah, I thought you raised your hand. Sorry.
Good job.
Okay. Next thing, old
Question
business.
a question on new business?
Yep.
Is it timely to bring it up in new business, or do I wait till we review the budget to make an amendment to the budget?
Amendment to budget would be under budget.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. I've got a request for on the budget as well. So
Is that the printout of the
budget.
budget? Can I see it?
Yep, absolutely.
some reason I can't find it.
Okay. Could you? Yeah, okay, the other thing, under, okay, old business now. We have two things to discuss, old business. One is last month, we did had a presentation from engineering and architectural firm and legal. Mr. Bersani came in to represent Michael Coppola about his construction project up on one of the fire lanes. And we were, going to do some research and come back to the board to see what your feelings were. I did talk to special counsel Andy Lea, which you saw his opinion in writing from an email that was sent out a month or so ago. And when I contacted him, he stands by his original comments and would not, he says that, however, the board has the right to overrule any recommendation he has, but he's going to stick by his original concerns. So the board, does anybody else have anything they want to bring new to the table in regards to that, and any opinion that you may have on that topic?
This is the bridge.
That's the bridge over the water line
Yeah,
for an
I
easement.
talked to a couple guys too that are in the construction field and also our water people. We're not putting any pressure on the line. We're putting a bridge over it. I'm more than willing to indemnify the town if it has to be moved. I personally don't have a problem with it.
Okay. I did, the only thing too, I wanted to add, I did talk to Mr. Coppola. He is willing to do anything that we want to do. And he's willing to add anything. I asked him about maybe just putting the bridge, not a roof on there or anything else. He says he will do whatever he wants us to do. So any other concerns that people have?
Well, my concern, I think that it's a beautiful project. I think that, I mean, they couldn't have done any better job trying to make things look the way that they should look and doing all that. My concern is going against our legal opinion, and then down the road having a problem that we can't resolve. I'm very torn by it, because I think that they're doing everything, and they're willing to accommodate us in any way that we can conceive. I just don't see where 10 years down the road or whatever, if we need to get in there, I think that it sets a bad precedent, and I would probably be against granting the waiver or whatever it is we're looking to do.
Okay, Bob Bruno is here. Bob, do you have any, I mean, although it's a water line and you have construction experience. What are your take on this project?
Usually I would show the,
I don't see where,
you know what I mean?
I can't hear you.
I don't see where it's gonna affect us that much. It's gonna hold us harmless,
Tony, do you have any?
The only concern I had is the setting a precedent. I mean,
Yeah.
we're doing something that's unusual. And I think what they've presented is very doable, very, very appropriate. But I'm thinking, is there something down the road 10 years that isn't appropriate, that will rely or base their proposal on what we've decided here? I think, but in the end, I defer to Mike and Bob. If they don't see a problem, I'll support it.
Rick, one of the things that Andy Leah had a concern about was if Mike, the owner of the property transfers the property, and I know, that, it goes with the deed or the abstract, but and if there is an emergency, which may be highly unlikely, but there is a precedence here. The question if the new owner says, I never signed that and I don't really care what it says, I'm not going to give you permission to do it. But we need to fix something for public safety and which is potable water. Do you see an issue with it as town council?
Well, that's a legitimate concern. I think what Andy is probably alluding to is, you have a legal right once the easement and the terms are set forth. But did the next buyer 10 years from now, 15 years from now, did his or her lawyer go over, that, this easement with the town in depth at the time of closing or prior to closing? So he at least had actual I mean, we know any future owners are going to have legal notice. No one's to say what the next buyer's attorney or whoever, or the realtor with disclosures, how they're going to provide actual notice to the future buyers years from now. That's always a concern, and that's a legitimate concern that Andy has, that I don't know what the answer is. Unless you have some type of signage or a small signage or something on that overhang, that just says something about that cites the easement or something. I don't know. I don't know.
I always thought the easements were permanent.
They are, but
They are.
but
that's talking about somebody who didn't really, maybe his representatives didn't give him, no actual notice of these provisions.
Well,
and
that's when he
these are
sues.
new owners.
That's when he
15
sues
years
the
from
lawyer.
now, and all of us are no longer here,
Well, that's when that may be true, but it still puts us in a situation where we're sitting out at the road when we got a problem with something that we shouldn't have a problem with. That's the issue.
But and the issue is, can we again, well, we do have, the question too is, we do have the right to access our utilities because of utility right away. The question is, we got obstruction on top of it, and the likelihood of a 4-foot wide break happening right where a water line is highly unlikely. But again, we're not going to be, this board hopefully will not be around if anything ever happened down the road. And so we had to do our due diligence to protect future boards from making it could be a catastrophic decision or a situation. The one thing right now is our 5th board member is not here. And, for me, if I voted right now, I probably, because of our advice from our attorney, special counsel, I probably would lean no, but I do have the same passion that Tony and Mike have and Bob has, that, and also that Fred alluded to, was that, they did everything possible. They did everything, they would possibly do everything to make this work. But, going against special counsel for me, that does not go. So
We table it.
I'd be willing to table it. And, we don't have a motion on the
Not a
floor.
resolution.
Not a resolution, but for me, I cannot go against special counsel to vote in favor of this at this time. So I would, so there is no motion right now. And I personally, probably for the board's sake, I would like to have Andy Leah come here next month and and at least zoom in and talk to us, and let him know our concerns and give Mr. Coppola a chance to counter that, but I'm not in a position to, and Fred, right now, although it's a worthy project and it's a gorgeous project, I think we'll just, get more feedback from them and not take any action at this time.
The only thing I would say is just to keep from kicking the can down the road, that we set up that like you want to, and put something on the agenda to address it
And
once
call
and
it
for all at the next
at the
meeting.
December meeting. Yep, okay, yep. But I brought it up under old business because we did say last month that we would, take time to do investigation. We
Yep.
would bring it up, but I did not have a recommendation. And since I do the agenda, I didn't put it on the agenda to vote on it.
So, also old business.
Yep,
So a couple of things. One, I haven't forgotten about this land survey project with the firehouse up in the hamlet, and my concern is that I haven't actually went out and walked the property with somebody from that firehouse to be able to say, can we get it surveyed here, and actually mark it out and see what's what.
okay,
So that would be the next step, I think, moving forward, is going out and actually, having some better idea, because it's kind of conceptual right now, this piece of land, but we don't know how big that piece of land is. We don't really know what it is. So I'm still working on that.
I'll put it on the agenda for next month.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the other thing that we'll call it old business, but I would like to darn mask.
I'm just gonna check to see if Timmy came in yet. Nope.
So we have talked a lot, and I want to make sure that Rick can hear me well and everything, because I want to look quickly at the open meetings law, and if I may, I would like to read a section of the open meetings law that talks about notice of proposed resolutions, laws, regulations, policies, and amendments. And what it says is, if the agency in which the public body functions maintains a regularly and routinely updated website and uses a high-speed internet connection, which I believe we do, such records shall be posted on the website at least 24 hours prior to the meeting, which would be the text of any resolution, the full agenda, and anything that we're going to vote on, and any attachments, anything that would be made available at least 24 hours prior to the meeting. It says that if it costs us any money, that could be an issue that we could deal with, but it does say to the extent practical or practicable, it says, but I think that we've talked about this over and over again about the agenda and
It is
public,
on there. It was on
and-
there last month and this month.
the text of all of the
full-
resolutions. We
full-
just got resolutions like 3 hours ago.
No. The only thing that changed earlier today was the abstracts, the total for the abstract. Darcel put one in late. But I put that up yesterday. The agenda that I sent you guys was
Right.
up yesterday, but we didn't add any resolutions today.
I thought Rick sent some today, but maybe I was wrong.
Well, if he did, I missed it. It's
No,
not
no,
on
no,
there.
no, no,
Oh.
nothing,
And then
nothing came today.
last month I
No.
put it up as well. So
Okay.
just so you know.
Okay.
It is. It
All
is
right.
because the governor came out just recently and said that they want them on there 24 hours. So
Okay.
we did start doing it.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right,
so-
perfect. perfect.
And if you go to our website where it says minutes agenda, you'll see it right there.
Okay, all right, perfect. I just want to make sure that the
Yep,
public has notice for purposes of those public hearings and any resolutions and the budget. Is the budget up?
The budget isn't up yet, no.
Okay, I think that because we're
No, but
voting.
we advertise in the
Today.
paper and we have a tentative budget up.
Mhm.
And it's available in-house for anybody that wants to see it. So they, and it had to be advertised properly. So
Right.
that's been documented as well.
Okay,
That's been up since now September,
okay,
actually.
all right.
The budget isn't on the website.
Not, right,
Right,
yeah,
okay, but it was in the paper
yes,
and anybody could come and get a copy.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Fred,
Yeah,
what you're raising is, and I did not send any emails today.
okay.
I have COVID, so I'm in minimal working, but luckily I got everything out, I think, with Ed and Tammy, I think by noon yesterday, I think we did,
Okay.
didn't we?
Yes,
Oh, I think I sent my resolution,
11.
except for one. I sent one yesterday after Matt Zarbo said we were missing one.
Yeah.
But what you're saying, especially with the accompanying or supporting documents, that's very important for our planning board and ZBA to do as well within 24 hours. And that's where you have like an application, you might have other, surveys, architectural drawings on proposed projects before the planning or zoning board.
It also,
We have to make sure Lori's aware of.
They
that
are,
provision.
they
Yeah,
are.
they are.
She gives it to me and I put them up.
Yeah.
Because of the whole, you have to do Zoom now,
yeah,
they have to have a chance. So in her paper, it says it's on the website when she sends it to the citizen and then I post them. So those are under news.
There's a,
Yeah,
it's
excellent.
on the website. That's the agenda.
I was going to glance over the other section of the law, but seeing how it was alluded to with the Zoom and everything. It also says in the law that if you have the capability of live streaming any public meeting, so that would be planning, that we have to do that as well. So
Yep.
we're going to need to make sure that they know how to use the equipment and get them up and running.
Well, I could tell you, I came in and did it last meeting. for
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
so they've
did.
been doing.
Yeah,
it.
so I think that's, and having that available to the public out on that YouTube site and everything able to get it's really important.
I hate to say it,
I
but
don't think that-
the owl was probably the best investment we came up with.
Yeah, it's worked out very well. I think that it's, and it saved us a lot of money from our
And Dave
initial.
Calabanca did send an email with the same governor's press release that you just read.
Yeah.
And he is fully aware of it and Andy Lay is fully aware of it. So it is being complied with.
Good.
Okay. And then Fred, why you got the floor? Update on crossing guard situation.
I talked with Jeff Perizzola a few days ago. Basically, the discussion was that he feels pretty strongly that there is a need for two crossing guards, one on either side of the school. I would defer, I guess, to him on that. I mean, ultimately, they become our employees, and the one thing that he said was that they had recently done a job
There.
Job
fair, and he was going to go back and reach out to anybody who might be interested, based on people who had come to or communicated with him regarding the job fair, to be able to provide us with any potential crossing guard candidates. I think that ultimately the school district isn't going to give us any money, but I guess we've got one up there right now. We apparently it would be safer and better if we had two. I asked him about the construction, and because I think that part of our issue, our congestion issue, is because of the construction, because you don't have that loop that's, it's caused a mess. And I asked if he thought that we were still going to need, 2 crossing guards after the construction was over. He thinks we do. And the construction should be done by the first or second week of January, and that should be all done. And then I guess we'll have to see. It's a tough job to fill. I mean, that's the reality of it. It's tough to find anybody that's willing to do something for that money, a couple hours here and a couple hours there. But that's,
When I talked to Jeff, I asked him if he would consider the idea that the district would coordinate the hiring and managing of crossing guards, and we would pay. And he thought it was a good idea. And I don't know if that was before or after Fred talked to him.
you talked to him first.
Yeah, Fred,
Yeah.
before, yeah, because then I told you Fred volunteered to
Okay.
take over with, because the other thing Fred was one other thing that and I had talked to when I was researching this to begin with. We used to have 3 crossing guards there, 1 in the middle and 2 on each end.
Mhm.
And then people left and we couldn't get people to work there because they get like $30 a day. They go in the morning, they go in the afternoon, and they stand in warm weather, no rain, no cold, so
Yeah.
they're out there for, hour in the morning, hour at night, and they get $30 a day. And they gotta go twice a day. So you do it because you want to be there with the kids, not because, and it was always great to have a grandparent or somebody who had a child going there, so they got to see their kid every day. And we had the luxury for many, many years to have the same people over and over again. Now, like everybody, nobody wants to do that kind of job. One of the things I talked to Greg Gilfus, I think it's Greg who's in
Mhm.
charge of the city. They have the same issues. They become our employees. They're under our workman's comp. They have some people that are out on disability comps, and they pay retirement on them. They do, the whole bit. So with the city, it's even tougher because it's they got a union contract for them, and they pay more money than we do, and they still can't get people. And they spend over $100,000 a year. We spend $16,000 a year for crossing guards. One of the things that I would like to get rid of is not the issue of the money. I would like to see, and one of the things I was going to talk to Fred about, and if he could talk to Greg, because you wanted to take over this project, is how about either the city take over the hiring because they do the rest of the schools? Why not just pick up a Wasco? But they got, I don't want to, but we'd be the employer, but if they could do the recruitment and the hiring, that kind of stuff, or the sheriff's department, because it's a county, or better yet, the schools have an SRO officer. Why don't we get the SRO officers to be the one that's in charge of the crossing guards, and let them recruit, find people, and do that kind of work. We don't have anybody here to, why should this border, why should we be the ones, responsible for finding people? And right now, if something happened to Stevie, we don't have a backup. We gotta call the sheriffs, we gotta call the city police to come in and do it.
I don't know if the city. would
So the
take
city
that.
doesn't have, there's some legal question as to whether or not they even have the authority to have a SRO at that school outside the city. They do it. And there's been some kind of wranglings that the unions have argued about over the years. So there's no way that there's going to be an Auburn cop standing there directing.
Is he,
That's not going to
is
happen.
he on duty?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
Is that
No, we've
part-time?
had them there before.
He's on duty?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they completely have no authority to do
I'm
that.
very
No
surprised.
legal
I'm very
authority. But they recently they recently switched to what's called a special patrol officer position. So they're hiring retired police officers to work specifically as SROs, because there's there's a section of the executive law that says that a municipality can hire a retired police or peace officer to work specifically for security of either government buildings, municipal buildings, or school buildings. So they're hiring them under that practice. They hired 3, I think. We have, the sheriff's office has 1 special patrol officer that was hired for Port Byron School. So it's, I'm happy to talk to Greg. I think that that there may be some if they've got a pool of candidates, I'm sure they'd be happy to share that pool of candidates with us, but they're going to be looking for more money. So it may have a budgetary impact moving forward. We may have to, if we're obligated to do it, we may have to make an adjustment, because we're not going to be able to, we probably won't be able to get people, for the money that
Well, we got in there for 3 people and we only have, we're lucky to get 2 people. So
Yeah.
I think our budget number is okay.
And I think 2 is enough.
Okay, so we beat that topic to death. Okay, the next one, the first resolution tonight this is just for us to get more points for the Climate Smart Action Committee. It's something that the Central New York Regional Planning says that if we want to get more points, we're trying to go for the bronze certification. We'll be the first town in Cayuga County to have Climate Smart Action certification. So this is just the agenda, a resolution for us, pledging that, we're trying to reduce greenhouse gas and stuff. So can I get a motion for approval?
So moved.
Any discussion on that,
Who second?
I did.
Michael?
And this one was to the Bob, we'll get you a sign, you have to put a fan up there too. For saying recyclable for your guys,
For the bin, for recycling bin?
for like the soda cans.
Okay. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Good. Next one is determining the proposed Town of Owasco Sewer District Number 1 inflow and infiltration reduction improvement Phase 1 project, type A action. This is basically our seeker, and we're going to be the lead agency. Listen, and Rick, I know you're not feeling well. Anything, can I get a motion for discussion?
Move.
Second.
Okay, Rick, anything you want to add to this?
The board should go over the part 2 completed by our town engineer, Martin Judas, and comment if there's any changes. I think the board has already gone through it because it's been provided to many of you, and I think I think I provided it to everybody. Was it yesterday morning? Yeah, I think it was yesterday morning. But the part 2, when they go through questions, has been provided along with their documentation supporting part 3 from B&L. The resolution, if it passes, is representing and determining that this proposed project to decrease inflow and infiltration into the sanitary sewer system will not have an adverse environmental impact, and you would be issuing a negative declaration under seeker.
The whole purpose of this project is to separate sewer on 3 avenues. And so right now it's a combined system. We would dig up the road, 3 roads, Stryker, Van Dyne, 2nd Ave, I believe it is. And we will do a complete street project, put in separate sewer and stormwater, put in new water lines, repave the roads, possibly curbing, which would, depending on, and this is also, everything's dependent on money, since they just passed that relieving, I forgot how many, $55 billion for thing. This makes us shovel ready. so that when and if the money becomes available, we can apply for and seek up to 80% reimbursement for grant funding. So we're going to be shovel ready, ready to go in case money is available, and we'll be first in line to grab it. So that's what we're attempting to do with this project. Doesn't mean we're committed to the project, just means we're trying to be shovel ready. So Rick, do you think at the board, everybody received the copy? Do you want me to go line by line and go over this? Or do you have any questions on this, on the seeker assessment form? That, what do you think I should do, Rick? We got impact on the land. Yeah, there would be some impact. It would just be, construction.
Yeah, everything was answered by our engineers. And again, these are proposed answers based on their experience. But these are proposed answers. Let me pull it up here. So when they indicate NI, it's no impact. SI is small impact, and they at length answered impacts on land, basically no impact. Impact on geological features, impact on surface water. And there is an issue with one or more wetlands or surface water, and they address that within answers to part 3. Impact on groundwater, no. Impact on flooding, yes. And they've answered those sub questions as well. But again, nothing they're indicating in all the answers so far in their engineering opinion, none so far, nothing at all, not even a sub question has a moderate to large impact. And impacts on air, no. Impact on plants and animals, yes, but no impact. No or small impact has been recommended. Answers by our engineer on that. Agricultural resources, no. Aesthetic resources, yes. And they've answered the sub questions on that. Historical and archaeological resources, no impact or small impact on the subcategories. Open space, no. No critical environmental areas impacted. Transportation, yes, but no, they've answered the sub questions as no impact or small impact. Energy, no. Noise, odor and light, yes, but the subcategories, they're no impact or small impact. And probably that has to do with during construction. And human health, yes, no impact in the subcategories. Community plans says no. I think sewer separation and I is always something, especially I is always something you strive for, to decrease that as much as you can as a community that's in charge of a sanitary sewer system. Consistency with community character, there's no impact on that. So throughout the whole detailed questions, no even subcategory was identified that I'm seeing had a moderate to large impact.
There was one.
In their
At the
opinion.
depth of 3 foot, that was the first one on the land impact. There was a moderate.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's
Yeah, I'm
what-
sorry.
there's one
Yeah.
there and with regard to located within 1,500 feet of a school, hospital, daycare center. So under human health. And I wonder if I assume that that's because we're doing work close to the Wasco school, and I would guess that it's, you know, that, I mean, it's listed as moderate, but I can't imagine that that it would be anything that the school would be concerned with.
We're not gonna turn off any water or stuff like that, so. Everything-
Fred, it probably has more to do, and I would have to look at any further explanation, but it probably has more to do during construction. That
Right.
it might have a moderate to large impact on our school because of just, during construction, during these, when the roads are under construction and things are being dug out. But obviously, if this works, all the areas affected are going to be benefiting thereby because we're decreasing inflow and infiltration of stormwater into our sanitary sewer.
Increasing water quality for drinking water. And we're replacing pipes that were put in the 1930s.
Yeah, I'm curious, not that it has any impact on how I'm gonna vote, but it lists a small impact on may substantially interfere with the nesting, breeding, foraging, or overwintering habitat for the predominant species that occupy or use the project site. It doesn't say no impact, it says small impact, and I'm just curious what species we're concerned about.
I'm sure there's nothing.
I don't imagine that it's, I mean, we're not gonna, it's not gonna
Third Ave.
it's not gonna kill all the deer in Alaska or anything, but
I can tell you what that is. Bob can tell you when we cut some trees down, there were squirrels nest, birds nest, that kind of stuff. And we actually had a lady call here and wanted to know when her tree was going down so she could say goodbye to the squirrels that were in the trees. That was a true story.
Oh, that didn't go well. Well,
And then she went, and then we didn't, and then they didn't, and it was a county road and the county didn't tell her. And we got the phone call and that didn't go well. And then we got the opposite. We had a lady call and scream here that, they wanted the wires that were going across her driveway on the utility right away. They wanted us to take them down and bury them because birds were pooping on her driveway, and that why should her husband and her go out there and use their water to spray off the bird poop on the driveway. So, we got both ends. So.
Yeah.
Fred,
Yeah.
if you look at pages 5 and 6 of their part 3 supplement, they state at the bottom of page 5, the most significant habitat impacts would be associated with tree clearing if required to facilitate the new stormwater outfall to the Owasco outlet. Tree clearing could impact habitat for multiple species, though the amount of clearing needed for the project is expected to be minimal. Clearing will be minimized to the extent possible to limit direct impacts to wildlife habitat. In temporarily disturbed areas, vegetative cover will be reestablished through seed application. The proposed road reconstruction and new utility installation along 3rd Ave. So at its 3rd Ave,
Third Ave,
right?
sorry, yeah.
3rd Ave, Van Dyne, and Stryker are not expected to result in significant disturbances to wildlife habitat.
I appreciate the explanation.
And the reason those streets were selected because of the age, but also because of their connection with the stormwater being allocated to the outlets, so it was less costly to do those 3 streets. And again, we're doing a tenth of the total streets.
10th.
So that the total project was
33 million,
going to
34
be 30 something million dollars. But we wanted to do, especially if we can get 80% reimbursement, we wanted to be able to prove the theory that by reducing the I&I, it would pay for itself, because we're right now currently paying, without the rates going up, over $500,000 a year for infiltration going into the city sewer system. And we're paying for clean water being treated from footer drains, sump pumps, roof tiles, you name it.
So
Yeah.
at the end of at the completion of the project, a year after that was done, we'd be able to tabulate
Yes,
the reduction in,
because we already have the pre-study.
right,
We'll do the post-construction survey, and then we'll have objective criteria to prove yay or nay.
right.
And the cost will definitely be worth it. And if we're right, it'll be less than a 10-year payback, you know.
Ed?
Yes,
Since this is only phase one, and we're very early in the process because we're doing all this today, so you on behalf of the town and Tammy can sign any documents that are needed to begin the grant application process. But I think one thing we got to get a handle on is where the stormwater is going to go, and
we already know that.
where
It's,
do we?
stormwater is going to be in the existing sewer line, and it's going to go into the outlet.
But where? I mean, are we gonna need
At-
any easements? Are we gonna need any easements?
I don't believe
from
so.
Anybody on the west of Owasco Road?
No, because we already have it there.
Okay.
There's already Van Dyne already has one. The infrastructure is already in place.
Okay,
That's why those
Okay,
streets were selected.
okay, good. Okay, good.
Does anybody else have any questions on? Any questions?
You're going up what street?
Third Ave,
Yeah, okay.
Van Dyne and Stryker.
Oh, okay.
No, and so it'll be a brand new street, look like
Boulevards.
Osteria place. You know,
It's gonna look nice down there.
Yeah, only movie stars can live there then.
Right,
So,
upscale.
yeah. So we can raise your assessment.
That's right, and nothing to it.
What our residents expect.
Oh, yeah, taxes to go down, so, all right, so any other questions on this, and we had to do our due diligence, because this is a very, and again, it's just to get our application, but we do have a due
We
diligence.
gotta do it.
We gotta do it, and we gotta look at it carefully, and so I appreciate everybody's time, and Rick, I thank you for your explanation, and anybody have any other questions? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Carried. The next one is to open a public hearing to consider the expenditures of $3.3 million for the acquisition, construction, installation, and improvements to the sewer district we just talked about. Again, this is not committing us to the project, it's just getting us shovel ready. So can I get a motion for discussion?
So moved.
Second,
Is there any comments on the public hearing that anybody would like to be heard on this? Hearing none. Like to close the public hearing.
well, we gotta,
We got a vote to open it.
Yeah.
Yep. All those in favor to open it?
aye,
Aye. Okay, going to close the public hearing. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
move,
Second,
Okay, who is the second?
Tony.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor?
aye,
Aye. Okay, now we have to approve the preliminary engineering report for the same district we just talked about. So with that, can I get a motion?
So move.
second,
Okay, any discussion to approve the preliminary engineering report, resolution 21-160? All those in favor?
aye,
All right, carried. Anybody opposed? Okay, then the next resolution is a resolution for the approval, acquisition, and construction of the town of Owasco Sewer District improvements to town of Sewer District number 1. So can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussions on that? All those in favor?
aye,
Carried. Anybody opposed? The next one is the bond resolution dated for today, And this is approved by our bond counsel, Matthew Wells. And he drafted this along with Rick's approval and recommendations. So can I get a motion for discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on the bond resolution? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. The next resolution is for the authorization and submission of all the stuff that we just did. We're authorizing Barton and Judas now to submit this information to the WIA grant for water improvement
Move.
infrastructure. So motion by Fred,
Second.
second by Tony. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, all right, so we're done with that project. So a lot goes into these things. We've been working on this for, I don't know, 2 years
Yeah,
to get ready for this, because we had to authorize the survey. We approved the survey, we paid for the survey. We got the survey results back early spring, and they gave it to us. We talked about it. We made the motion to go forward with it.
Mhm.
This is just the actions of what we continued on,
the
so.
right time to do it.
Yeah, and that's what we decided as a board. It was this board that decided to go forward with this project. Okay, now, this is just, the next motion is 164 is an amendment to the municipal cooperative agreement with the Greater Tompkins County Municipal Health Insurance Consortium. And for a historical background, actually, I'll take a motion for discussion so I can talk about it.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, Tony and Mike, what we get our health insurance through this consortium because it saved us many thousands, tens of thousands of dollars going through a consortium versus going through a supplier through Blue Cross Blue Shield. Almost identical policies, but their board, which I'm on the board. Timmy's the backup. We're gonna have to find a replacement to be a backup for Timmy. And come January. And so that way, in case I can't attend the meetings that, we meet it used to be monthly, now it's quarterly, but some meetings are mandatory, like in September, when they had the annual meeting, you have to be there to actually vote. And so it's required that we be there, so someone has to be there. So, so they're making a motion to change the authorization of chief executive officer and their consortium to sign paperwork for the consortium on their behalf. Any questions, discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next is to open the public hearing on the preliminary budget for the town of Alaska for beginning January 1st, 2022. And we'll open it 4:58.
Move.
Second.
Okay, now, we open the public hearing. So public,
So
what's the public for? Anybody in the public would like to be heard?
we didn't vote to,
All those in favor to open it?
aye.
Aye.
yeah,
Thank you. Anybody from the public want to be heard? So let me just check the computer, see who's there. Nikki's still there and Rick and nobody else. Just wanted to make sure. So we, I lost mine, okay. And we're doing it for all the districts and funds. So we will close the public hearing portion, and then we can get into the budget part, and then we can make amendments to that. I have a couple that I would like to suggest. So I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
So
so
moved.
moved.
Okay, Tony the mic. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now, we're going to, and we'll have time to discuss this, a motion to approve the final budget. So I have a motion to discuss. Fred,
Second.
second. Okay, before, I would like, Fred, can I see that thing for a second?
Yep.
Really, the only thing, there's a couple change, since you were last notified, I think we sent a couple things, nothing really has changed that much, except for a couple things that I would like to recommend. since the last time we voted, and Fred, you weren't there.
No, I wasn't
Yeah,
there,
I think we did it just for openness, we did it during the day. Fred works during the day. It was an inconvenient time for him. He has other obligations, so we did it at that time. So four of the 5 board members were there, and we discussed, we went line by line on every item. One of the things that I would, since we did vote on that, one of the things that I would like to recommend, I think I can't even remember if I sent out something on a request from the Owasco Lake Watershed Management Council to increase their contribution. They are requesting, our proposed budget was to keep it flat at the $27,100 that we were at last year. And they had requested go to $28,000. I could tell you as a sitting board member and chair of that committee, we had a couple things that had happened since we approved this budget and they had asked for the increase. One of the things is we had 2 watershed inspectors. One is coming to the age which she was on her family health insurance, and her health insurance can no longer be on the family. She's aging out. She can no longer be on the family's health insurance. And so one of the things that we need to consider is increasing a contribution on employees benefit like 30% and looking at picking up a single coverage only for the one employee. And then at the time we had another watershed inspector who left to follow his wife to a different job, and he didn't need the insurance. He was covered under his wife's policy. And we are hiring a new person, and that person hopefully on Friday, but that person is also requiring health insurance. So the cost to the council is increased approximately $6,000 for 2 health insurance policies we're paying, looking at that. And because of their wages being below, I think it was $43,000, then they're eligible for the New York State health insurance thing at a reduced rate, and it's the best price. And so they are looking, and they are running at right now at, we have a surplus because of we have a surplus in revenue, but they anticipate to use some of their fund balance. So they would like, if we, minimum, they would like a $900 increase, but if we could go up even $1,900 to $29,000 or $30,000, that would be even a better situation. The city of Auburn also is considering, but their budget doesn't come out till June. So we would look at that. And I say that because, as I mentioned to everybody at the beginning of this year, looking at our revenue, we have in our revenue allocations, I believe from I gotta find it here. We had about $599,000 in our reserve account fund balance for that general fund. And right now, after 3 quarters, we're at 116% of our budget. So we're 16% over budget without the 4th quarter coming in. The 4th quarter, last year we received $350,000. We're already about $75,000 over what we anticipated for our budget. So our expenditures are not. So we're going to get an extra $500,000 in our revenue, and which has to get split between highway and water. So it's an extra $250,000. But we did anticipate to use some of our fund balance this year in our revenue. So in our revenue accounts, I'm just trying to find it. So instead of using our fund balance, we're actually going to put money back in. So the money is there if that was a concern for you.
So based on the expected increase in cost to the Owasco Lake watershed, whatever, this amount that you're proposing that we increase, that would be our share of that increase.
Yes,
So that
The other towns are all gonna participate.
yes.
Yeah.
So, and one of the things that we did do, it's intermunicipal agreement, the Watershed Management Council, and we're getting more and more councils. Matter of fact, right now, we're at 11 towns that are participating. The two major contributors are the two prevailers of water, which is because we have water treatment plants, which is the town of Wasco and the city of Auburn.
Mhm.
The city of Auburn contributes $210,000 right now to the budget. We're kicking in $27,100. So they're proposing an additional $15,000 increase, city of Auburn, come June. So we're only gonna get half of that because they go from from July to June
So do
30th the
you-
following year.
Do
So
we need a motion to make that change, or do
So-
we just make the change and then approve the budget at
yes, we
that?
make
Make
it,
the
so,
change,
so,
Alex.
so, so
Approve the
Mike,
overall budget.
so yeah, we'll approve the overall budget. On that, so you can do it two ways. You can approve any line item individually, or you can approve it as part of the total budget. Okay, so I would like to go up to at least $29,000.
So let's put it in at 29,000.
Okay, so we're gonna add, another thousand, on top, $1,900 from what we
Yeah.
had
it's almost
originally.
2,000.
And that will be, that will come out of our general, or that'll come out of our general fund,
General fund.
and so it'll be supported by the taxes.
Revenue.
Not taxes, supported by sales tax revenue.
Okay,
It's tax, but it's.
All right.
Sales tax, right, not taxes, property taxes are different than sales tax revenue,
all right.
because our sales tax revenue is so
More than anticipated.
more than anticipated. Now, and again, if you look at our track record, we always budget low on our revenue. We always budget high on our expenses. Our expenses are gonna come, right now, our expenses are tracking less than after 10 months. We're way below 10, 12, so the total expenditures without any major projects coming in.
So reserve funds will go.
I think that revenue is gonna go down next year, the way the economy is going.
Yeah, and that's what the state says not to, but again, when we did our budget for revenue next year, we took a 5-year average of what we got, and so it took in the lean years and took in consideration. So we're, even if we we're gonna be okay, even if it decreases from this year, we're still gonna meet our budget for revenue for next year.
Yeah,
The only thing that I did differently in this budget that was sent to everybody was, we had, at one point, we were going to take the highway superintendent salary out of general and put it out of highway and put it in general, but because of some other things legality wise, we kept it as it was for the last forever. So we didn't make that change. So we just switched it back to highway and took it out of general. So the other thing that I think that is the only thing I did differently in general expense. And that was it. We did make a couple minor adjustments in sewer. The only reason we made the adjustments in sewer is because we had anticipate new people coming on, so we increased the revenue for sewer. We didn't increase any expenditures because with new people coming on, they have to pay ad valorem tax on the O&M and capital costs, which was part of the map plan and report, which was set up when we originally set up sewer district number 3.
And just for transparency's sake, what is the difference between our total budget of 2021 and our proposed budget of 2022?
In what category?
I'm looking at what our overall budget, what it costs the town of Wasco to operate 1 year to the next.
Probably 3% more, 3.5%.
you didn't have, I don't have that.
Yeah,
I don't have-
I was,
I don't have.
I
that
would be
number.
interested
I don't have
in,
that number on here. Yeah,
from Darcel, just, it's in the other document that we got, it does have the
Yeah.
2021.
yeah,
And the-
19,
and the-
20,
yeah.
It has all the previous years.
I would be interested if she can produce
Yeah,
this document with just the current year's
Yep.
stuff
Well, after
in
we
it as
finalize
well.
the budget, should be able to.
oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So I can get that to you.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
So-
it's,
I think she
and-
does it automatically.
Would be
Yeah.
And
nice.
next year, when we're looking at the budget, looking at 2022's numbers on that, because I like that format.
I think we go back quite a few years doing that. I've got records from
Oh, yeah.
12, 14
Well,
years.
I think the previous budgets are, Tammy, do you have last year's budget on the?
Yeah,
They're
it's-
all on,
We got it.
they're all
We
on the
got it,
site,
yeah.
and it is, isn't it all, isn't there a total on one of those pages?
So,
It's like year to year.
yeah, I'm sure there is.
Yeah, it's, yeah,
So there is, it goes back quite far of all the budgets that are up, I believe. Let's
yeah, we
see.
got 10 years.
We've got all the way back from 2009. or
Yeah,
all
yeah,
up.
yeah. That's-
Okay.
Yeah,
when I
but
started-
he wants to know, yeah, we're, I can tell you honestly, we're probably percentage wise, all our labor, right now, we anticipate a labor cost to go up a certain percentage. Health insurance gone up, everything has gone up, but everything else, we're not adding anything new. So, and it varies too, because it may be skewed by certain things, because when we purchase the equipment, we take things out of reserve accounts, put it into the budget for expenditures, and so,
Right.
but you gotta take everything into consideration when you do those comparisons on equipment
Yeah,
investment,
I see
capital
what you're saying.
projects.
So I
stuff like
remember
that.
doing a study because the first few years we were in such bad financial shape
Oh, yeah,
that we tracked it. And then by the fourth year, we made a huge improvement in terms of reserve funds available and our liquidity.
yep. So that, that's the only recommendations that I have. Anybody else have any other?
Yeah, and
recommendations?
considering all the infrastructure projects that we've completed in the last few years and
There's been
And
a
the
lot of this
infrastructure
town.
projects that we're contemplating, and all the work that Ed puts in to coordinate those projects, I propose that we change the rate of pay for the supervisor's position to 18.5, which would bring the position in Owasco up to Senate's current salary. And I think our town is a bigger town in terms of responsibility and budget. I think that's more than fair, maybe less than fair, but that's my proposal.
Well, he does put a lot of hours in here, things that people don't see behind the scenes.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
just-
there's
I
a
think
lot
it's
of
not
things that
fair,
go
that-
on. This.
It's not fair that small towns have supervisors making more money than the supervisor of the town of
And they
Oaxaca.
don't do half.
They don't do half.
No.
Yeah, he works a lot,
So that's my proposal.
a lot of hours.
So you're, say that one more time. What's the
I'd like
number?
to change the stipend from, I think it's 14.
It's 14.9 right now.
To 18.5,
Mhm.
Okay,
which is comparable to the supervisor's position in the town of Center.
I don't.
That works for me.
I think that's very fair myself.
yeah,
I can't vote on that, so I'm not gonna make any comment.
yeah.
You don't have to vote.
Yeah. So we changed that line of the budget to 18.5 and we vote on it when we vote on
Right.
the entire budget. Yeah, I don't have any problem with that. The only thing that I'll say is, this document here that was produced this year, 2022 final not approved, funds. Again, for some reason, we got this supervisor clerk of the works position that's not funded. And I don't know if this, it says tentative notes from 2022 budget. It has Rich Null, question mark, is he gonna do anything? Question mark.
No. So that's their sales notes.
Yeah,
So, yeah, so that was part of the preliminary package when we discussed it in the budget hearings, and And so there's no funding there.
Right, no, I see that there's no funding there. I just,
Yeah,
this
we'll
is,
take it out, yeah.
this is my concern, is that we've had several discussions over the last 2 years since I've been on the board about Rich Null's position with the town. I like the fact that he's the only non-town employee that's got a mailbox in the mailroom.
Yeah.
I'm just frankly tired of hearing his name. I don't like that it shows up on our paperwork. I'm just tired of hearing the guy's name. He doesn't work here, and you know, you're retired. Go retire, and I'm just tired of hearing it.
Well, I can tell you that we call him, Bob calls him for his historical background,
Mhm.
things that have happened. And his input is invaluable to, you know.
What happens when he gets hit by a bus?
Well, well, I agree, but until that happens, and if we can get a quick answer and get the background on things why things were done, so we have a better understanding, I will continue to call him for advice and for information and historical background, just because of his knowledge, and it's like calling your grandfather and say, why, how many people in my family got, we're in a war or serving the military. That
But
kind
it
of
is
stuff.
nice to have a guy like that. You can ask, hey, that valve, we lost the valves over on Oak Ridge. Do you remember where they are? He said, yeah, they're over in the left corner.
Yeah,
That's so valuable.
I get that, but you know what would also be nice is if we trained somebody to know that information on our staff.
That's where that new guy in that we're gonna hire sooner or
I
later.
can tell you.
But we've been talking about this for 2 years now.
I know.
2 years, and how much training has gotten done?
No,
I agree with
None.
you. But if something happens to Ed, we're not gonna have anybody.
If some,
Bob Bruno knows where there's a lot of stuff,
yeah,
but Ed does too.
and I trust Bob Bruno to know where the
But
stuff
Bob
is.
Bruno and I are both getting up there in age.
and I understand, I understand where you're at, and I appreciate your input, and trust me, I try to convince people from the city of Auburn to come here for more money, and they won't leave.
Mhm.
I've contacted the AWA, which is the American Water Association's thing, and are going to advertise in their magazine or professional journal to try to recruit people who can do the job on day one. And I am going to tell you right now, because it is an employee's market right now, the money that we have budgeted, we may have to increase that in order to attract anybody, to get anybody here good, it's gonna last. And we don't mind paying people if they're gonna do the good job. And I'm doing, and I can honestly say, that is the reason why. And one of the things that I would even consider looking at is even piggybacking with the city of Auburn and see what they would give me a price to let them be the managers and use their licenses and get out of the employee business and let them oversee our drinking water system, because they've got higher qualified people than we do.
It
And
makes sense.
again, goes back to the same thing with crossing guards. So instead of just hiring that position, if I can use that position and look at what it's going to cost me for the individual and the health insurance and everything else that we're looking at long-term, I think we may be, but and I've already had discussion with the city of Auburn on that.
Yeah.
And so, but then you got, we got to be delicate with that.
Yeah,
Because
and I think that any option like that, I think I can absolutely support that.
Yep.
We've gone over, I just think that we're way past the point of relying on or having to rely on non-employees to allow us to function. I think that
goes away after a while, though.
yeah, and I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
And, again, there's that grace period, transition period, but I will support Rich Knoll 110%. And And, you know, because I believe, you know, his integrity, his knowledge is invaluable to me and to this town. And I'm going to continue to use him as long as I can, because as long as I'm here, and as long as he's willing, I'm going to do that. Bob, you want to say one thing? We're going to move on.
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah.
Even if you got an experienced guy that's knowledgeable of sewer and water, this town of Velasco, their sewer system is so complicated. It's old, it's complicated. I know we're changing and everything, but it's unfair to say that, you know, about Rich Knoll. I go back to Rich Knoll to the early 70s when it was KNS, KNS electric down there. And that guy knows everything. He knows costs. He knows everything, you know. And even if a guy came, even if you hired a guy tomorrow, it's gonna take a guy. If Ed quit tomorrow, we'd be up shit's creek, okay? And I don't care if you get a college graduate, okay? It's gonna take somebody 2 years, even with a college education, to get just familiar with half of the stuff Ed does. Same thing with Rich Knoll, you know?
Yeah.
He's been around.
When Rich-
I know.
when
It's
Rich came
unfair
over-
to say, you know, you don't want, you don't want to listen to the name anymore.
Well,
You know?
I want to be clear that I don't have anything against the guy personally. I don't know him. I don't have, my concern is for the town and being, and relying on somebody that we're not paying to do the job. That's my concern. It could be anybody. It could be anybody. I don't care, you know, because I don't know Rich from a bag of beans.
Yeah, I can tell you, Rich came in today and he says since Jeremy, who is an IT person, came in, he says, as soon as he gets on board, I'm handing over, because he helped prepare the budget with me. So he goes, I'm turning everything over to Jeremy because he's a tech guy. Let him deal with that kind of stuff. Because he wants out just as much as, but he's only doing it because he cares so much about the town and he wants to make sure we're in good hands. And he agrees. He wants someone to be here. He wanted someone here last year, but you know, but we don't use him. He just volunteers to help us. So
I watched him work in the new job and boy, he got right in there and he solved the problem immediately.
yeah. All right. Anything else on the budget that we need to? I know we're getting. I knew it was going to be a long meeting. So,
Okay.
anything else on this budget? Anybody else wants to make any other corrections, additions, stuff on here? You know, again, except for those small changes that Tony made and I made, everything else is the same from what you had back in a month ago.
All right, so change was made 18.5 then.
Yeah.
18.5 in my
Okay.
salary. Yeah,
Okay,
and the $29,000 in the water.
right.
And I thank you for that consideration. So, Fred, last chance before I take the vote. Yeah. What do you think? Resolution. Jesus. Public preliminary budget. Okay, so we have a motion with a second. All those in favor of the of approving the preliminary budget, the final budget.
So move.
Aye.
All those in, okay, motion carried. Anybody opposed? Motion carried. So we did, that was that, budget modifications, Darcel prepares his budget modifications for your review. That's for her recommendations. Any question, motion to discuss?
Move.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Okay, now we go to audit and payment of claims. With the audit payment of claims, we have the vouchers there. Bob's here to discuss anything you want to talk about. I'll get your motion for discussion.
Move.
Second.
So the only thing that and Bob and I have been working on trying to get together and our schedules just haven't meshed quite right yet, but I think that if we can get to a point where we know that over the last 5 years, we've spent however much at Home Depot or at whatever, if we can get to a point where we get a request from the highway department for a general PO that says, I generally, for the first half of the year, I generally spend however much, $5,000, $10,000. I don't care what the number is. at this particular vendor, you know, and then we approve that PO. And then every time there's a, you know, you need a bolt or whatever, and you go to the thing, that's the PO, that number that goes, that's a previously approved. I think that resolves our issue for 90% of the stuff that we could potentially be dinged on in a future inspection. I think if we just did some, you know, a couple of simple, you know, preemptory POs
Open
that
POs.
that just says at this vendor, whatever it is, at Home Depot, at the pump plant, whatever
On the
it is.
sundry items, you get away with it. You're not gonna get away with it on putting a set of brakes on a pickup truck or putting a set of kingpins on a big truck. They want you to go out for bid, and that is so stupid.
Well, and that's, we gotta deal with whatever they want us to do, you know, if the rules are what the rules are, I mean, we're gonna do it. But I think that for the little things, because
I think there's a minimum, I think as far as, I gotta talk to Rick, I think we'll,
The
Google-
sundry,
I think we'll Google this. I think there's a minimum threshold that the board adopted. I think it's $500 or less, so anything over $500 does not have to meet the PO requirement. I gotta go look that up.
But I think
So-
Fred wants.
Well, and to his
Well, that's a
defense,
different-
we can have an open PO at, and we do have a charge account there at Lowe's,
Yeah.
but we can have, but I think we gotta do that by board resolution. So I think, Tammy, if you can
Would save
remind
some
me,
hassle.
you know, we're
Yeah,
gonna,
but I'm trying to think, I don't know, because it would be smart, but I don't know if it can be done, because
let's
when you
talk to
do the
the,
POs, like if he went there and he bought a part for sewer one and a part for sewer two, the PO shows what account we charge it against when we do the voucher.
so.
That's the only
that-
problem.
that's,
So,
that's a
and-
bookkeeping, but
Yeah, and
to
maybe-
Fred's point was the actual charge
You're just-
itself.
Yeah,
But when it comes to posting, the posting is after we purchase.
He's trying to
it.
streamline the process.
Yes, yes.
well,
Not change.
I'm concerned about the comptroller's office
Right,
coming in and
right.
telling the public that we're screwing things up again. And if we can make a simple change that alleviates that in the future, because, you know, we got it handed to us in that
We should-
comptroller's
should we
report, and
talk
I
to
just
an
want to make
auditor
sure we
or-
don't do it again.
Yeah.
Is there a number that we can call?
I'm gonna call I just want to know, I'm gonna call the
Comptroller.
comptroller's office and talk to the
I'll get
auditor
an answer.
themselves
Yeah,
and get the input on that. And
Yeah.
I gotta remember, I just can't think of the top of my head right now, but I believe there's two issues. One is the minimum threshold and two is the vendor itself having a open PO. I think it's possible. I just gotta get the details.
I know that-
We've done that in
I-
our office.
I know that the county does it, you know, if I need maintenance to go over to pick up a hook for the wall at Lowe's, they've got an open PO over there that we don't have to screw around with, so.
When I go somewhere, I use 333. I've used that for 30 years now. And they know,
Everybody
the
knows.
girls all know, Mike ordered this, don't fool with it.
Ed,
Yeah,
do you need something from the procurement policy? I pulled it up during your discussion. Is that what you were looking for?
yeah. Is there a minimum, is there a minimum threshold that we don't have to get a PO for on there?
Or bid.
Or a bid, you know, well, bid, yeah, it's done by the procurement.
Well,
Bid is,
yeah, well, it's $250 to $2,999, two verbal quotations in approval by the supervisor and or his designee.
yeah.
And that goes for public work contracts or purchase contracts.
Anything over 250.
Anything over
250.
250.
Yeah, so I think what we can do is we can, you know, and right now, 250, we can change that as a board if we wanted to do that. But let me talk to the state comptroller's
Yeah,
office.
Yeah, let's get a
advice.
recommendation from them.
Get a recommendation.
You did our annual.
Yeah, and that's in that's in chapter 22
Yeah.
of our local laws of our procurement. It's called our.
We could change that
procurement policy.
organizational
It's a
meeting, couldn't
local
we?
law.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, thank you, Rick. Appreciate it. Okay, so with that, and Fred, anybody else, anything else on the purchases? Audit and payment of claims?
No,
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the next thing is I got a brief update to give you in executive session, so we're gonna close the public hearing. We're not gonna vote on anything going forward, so at this point, we are done. Thank you, Mickey, thank you, Rick, you want to stay on for real quick? Bob, thank you.